like to call the meeting to order and thank all the board members and everybody for coming out tonight. I appreciate it for the May 13th, 2020 meeting. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take roll call. Councilwoman Harris. Here. Councilman Alicia.
Here.
Supervisor Shepler.
Here.
Councilman Brown.
Here.
And let the record show that Councilman Needham is absent.
Thank you. Before I get going into my supervisor's report, I would just like to point out to the town clerk that there was an error in the payment of claims last month, and I gave you a copy of it.
I saw that in the packet.
Thank you.
I'll have to go back and check and see if it's just something I recorded from the audio or if that's...
Well, it is the 197, 199, 54, okay? For this evening's supervisor's report, the town of Thurman declared its original state of emergency on March 19th, 2020, and extended its state of emergency on April 16, 2020, which shall remain in effect for 30 days or until rescinded by a subsequent order. During these very difficult and changing times, it is important for everybody to remember to maintain social distancing of 6 feet, wash your hands frequently, wear your face masks, and if you are ill at all, stay home. There have been 213 confirmed cases of the COVID-19 virus in Warren County to date. That is as of today. Glens Falls Hospital, along with the Warren County Public Health Department, is continuing the drive-up testing site. Those wishing to be tested will need to get an order from their health provider, who will then contact Warren County Public Health Services to arrange for a time for the test. This site is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Results are done through a state laboratory and will take 3 to 5 days to come back. The town of Thurman continues to host the Warrensburg Central School District so they can distribute the breakfast and lunch programs to the Thurman students that qualify, along with distributing homework to students of Thurman. The town of Thurman was asked to please hang a banner in recognition of the senior class. The highway department, I said, will, they did it today, hang this banner on the town garage for the class of 2020. Thank you, Pat Wood and the highway department. The Warrensburg School Superintendent, Mr. John Boralski, wishes to extend his appreciation to the Thurman Town Board for their continued support in all of his projects. Just a reminder that the Thurman Food Pantry is open Tuesdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and we are here Monday through Friday, and if you're in need, please let us know. The Thurman Gleaning hours are first Monday of the month from 12 noon to 2 p.m. For now, we're asking those who come to wait outside, observing the 6-foot social distancing, sign in, and the cleaning volunteers will get you the food needed. Landfill hours are Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. The town offices, with the exception of the town court, are and have been open for business, but I would ask that you please call for an appointment for the time being to make sure the person you wish to see is actually at the town hall, since most of the departments have reduced hours. The town of Thurman still has a limited number of masks. If you'd like some, please contact my office at 518-623-9649, extension 101, and make arrangements to pick them up. I'd like to share with you that I have had the opportunity to have a long conversation with Kevin Lynch, the Vice President of Technical Operations for Slick Network last week. We discussed the progress and some difficulties they're having. On a positive note, he feels that Slick will be entering phase 1 of having some residents hooked up and functioning in Thurman by July, and with an anticipated completion of mid to late September, barring nothing unforeseen. Thurman Broadband Initiative Committee is working with both my office and Slick in order to provide the residents with current and up-to-date information regarding this service. TBIC We'll continue posting information and updates on both Thurman News and Notes and Thurman Happenings via Facebook. I would like to thank Rose Cruz Slump and Marlena DeLongis for their continued support and their efforts over the past 2 years towards bringing SLIC to our community. I would at this time also like to thank both Marilyn Youngblood for donating some masks to the town, and to Avis Russell for making and donating some masks to the town, both for distribution. As promised, the town board is in receipt tonight of the long-awaited financials. Considering we contracted with Williams on February 2nd, 2020, we had to convert both payroll and the town's accounting system with some degree of difficulty. We are now current. I would just like to make the board aware that the town is facing some very difficult times ahead. With the anticipated shortfall in funds, I would not be surprised if we start seeing some of these problems by fall of this year. At this time, I'd like to poll the board with either a yes or no response. Absolutely no discussion. This is not a vote. I ran my campaign on wanting an audit of the town of Thurman's accounts. Who would be interested in having an audit done? Either by saying yes or no.
And on what purpose are we doing it?
Well, I'll read on, but when I ran my campaign, I wanted to have an audit. And
How much
I
it
said
gonna cost?
that.
10,000, no, how much it's gonna cost?
I'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay, excuse me.
Does anybody want to have an audit done or not?
If we can't have any discussion to know why.
I'm just
we're doing it,
polling, is all I'm doing. This
then I'm
isn't
gonna
to
say
vote.
no until I know why and how we're doing it, who's doing it.
Joan, would you like to?
I'm going down that road too. Thank you.
I would say yes if I had more information.
Okay. All right. This was purely a poll. It wasn't a vote. There was no discussion. I just wanted to know who was interested in doing an audit. I am considering, or I was considering, donating my salary of $10,800, which would cover approximately half of an audit. This consideration is only for an audit. I don't have anybody lined up. I wasn't going to get anybody lined up until I knew whether or not we were going to do an audit or not. And
How
it's-
did you get the dollar amount that you know that it's half?
I had been in conversation prior to getting elected with different companies and
Okay.
finding out a ballpark figure. It's approximately half.
Okay.
All right?
What would you?
That's per year.
That would be for doing the audit,
Right.
not coming in and doing
He
anything else.
said a year. What time period are we talking about?
The past 3 years.
Why not include the present?
We've got 5 months in. There's nothing to really audit at this point in time. They could certainly look at it if they wanted to, but there's no reason for them to. And I don't see the need to pay for that at this point in time.
So it's $21,600.
I said approximately, but that's what I was willing.
I want to say one thing. If it requires the expenditure of any town funds, given what we're facing and the potential shortfalls of revenues coming in this fall, I would say no.
That's fine, you already did, thank
If
you.
you want to pay for one, have at it.
Well, thank you. So this is a no vote. So it looks like at this point in time, I will be taking my salary. Thank you. I would like to end my report by encouraging everyone to please continue to support our local businesses when shopping or picking up a meal. Shop local, and please stay well. Thank you.
You too.
So before we go into resolutions, one of the things I don't see on the agenda is any discussion of old business. I mean, I've got some things, I feel like we keep coming to the meetings and we pay our bills, we pass a couple of resolutions and we go home and there's a whole bunch of issues facing our town that we're not discussing.
I did not put old business on there. I will put it on for the next meeting.
Well, I have some things I have questions about, I'd like to have some
Well,
discussion.
why don't we get through with the resolutions and go forward, and then we can have some discussion. But I did not, it wasn't intentional, I just didn't put it on there. But I will put it on for June.
We're gonna have discussion tonight, right?
Yeah, she said after we get done with that.
After we're done with everything, we can have a short discussion period, all right? And then we can call it an evening. Do I have somebody who's willing to bring a resolution to the floor to sign the agreement between the town of Thurman and the Glens Falls Animal Hospital?
I will.
Thank you, John.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Randy. Whereas the town of Thurman is in receipt of the annual renewal of the agreement with the Glens Falls Animal Hospital for boarding and quarantine of all seized dogs, but not limited to just dogs, pursuant to the agricultural markets regulations, be it resolved that the town board approves the supervisor of signing the agreement with the Glens Falls Animal Hospital. Can I please have a roll, any discussion?
Is the amount, is that any change from last year, or?
There is a slight increase from last year.
Any change in the level of service they're offering?
No, it's the same service. That has not changed one bit. I have the 19, I called them, got the 19, and I've got the 20. If you'd like to look at this and then pass it around and get it back to me, I'd appreciate it.
Has there been many pickups and taken to the,
Not of late, he's had some calls, but by the time he gets there, it seems that the dogs are no longer where the person called from. I don't know if that's because people are keeping their dogs home, closer to their homes, or what, but this last month, he only had one call and one follow-up, and the dogs were gone by the time he got there.
thank you, Mr. Rizzo.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion in regards to this agreement? Can I please ask for a roll call vote?
Supervisor Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris,
Yes,
Councilman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Volusia.
Yes.
Resolution is passed. Thank you. Next, can I have somebody that would be willing to bring up a resolution to adopt Yeager and Flynn as the insurance broker of record? Thank you.
Who was that, Ed?
Ed, anyone want to second it? I will. Resolution to adopt Yeager and Flynn as insurance broker of record. Whereas municipalities are required to carry municipal insurance, property, automotive, general liability, public officials, and excess liability, be it resolved that the town of Thurman ratifies the action of the supervisor to prevent a lapse of insurance coverage by authorizing the insurance for the town with New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, NYMER, for $22,732.75. Discussion.
ratify, that means you've already done it?
It means that I've signed a contract. It doesn't mean that we have to go with it.
So you could cancel.
I
that.
can. I have that option, but the insurance was over as of May 1st, and I had to sign something.
Why would we want to change? This one you had during Abby's time, right?
No, I think Evie had the Trident with the Upstate, is what she had. Prior to her was the NYMER.
Yeah, but after her, this was,
Cynthia had the Trident after Evie.
So why are we changing? I'm just.
Why? Because I went out shopping for insurance because I'm looking to try and save the town few
Okay.
dollars.
Appreciate that.
And I did go around, I went to, I had asked Upstate to give me everything in a lump sum, and they didn't, as you can see by the figures attached here. I had met with Yeager and Flynn, and they brought in Nimer. What it turns out to be is, even if you don't add on the town clerk, tax collector, and the town justice at $100,000 and maintain them at $60,000, which is really kind of ridiculous at this point in time, the amount of money people in this hall handles.
Which paper are you looking at? Let me find it.
This one,
Okay, there's a one.
I thought it was prudent to increase their liabilities also. They've increased mine. Nimer did it automatically. Yeager, Upstate didn't do it. They didn't add it in. And I had to call him and ask him why not, and to send me what it would be. So the additional sum to add in the town clerk, tax collector, and the justice was $514. I'd asked them to include everything in regards to the cyber liability and risk for the town, and they didn't do it. So then they sent me a sheet for $3,600. So their total, instead of $3,180.23, is $27,294.23. Backing up, if you go over to the left-hand side, it says as is. You have Trident and you have Nimer. The difference of the two insurance companies already is $447.48. Then Nimer, because we used to have them years ago, they have what they call a capitalization return, which has multiplied and earned interest, and for 2 years, the grand total is $2,197.80. We will get half of that this year in a check back from them. They will not take it off of the premium. You get a separate check for that. So that would be $1,098.90. If you add those two together, the $447.48 and the $1,098.90, it comes up to $1,546.38 savings. Just as is, all right? If you take the Trident with the addition of, which had been requested that they do initially, and they admitted it, the town clerk, and then the cyber risk, it comes to $27,294.23. If you look at the Nimer, theirs is $22,732.75. There is a $4,561.48 difference. If you add in what we will be getting for the capitalization for this year, it's $1,098.90. It's $5,660.38 savings. My recommendation, Nimer has given us actually better coverage. They have gone around and they've looked at all of our properties, and they have taken off buildings that were still on Trident. There was a 2-car garage up here at one time, I guess. It was before me.
Yeah.
And we've been carrying it on Trident. Nimer took it off. They've gone through and looked at each vehicle that the town has and owns, and we would get total replacement value for the new vehicle, whereas in Trident, you only get a percentage. I mean, I had gone and I had asked for a third insurance. I believe the name was Simplicity or something like that. They don't do municipal insurances, so that wasn't even in the consideration. Both companies do Trident. I don't believe that Upstate does Nimer. I personally was very impressed with their presentation. The fact that they went around physically looking at everything. And then, again, as I said, it would be an actual cost. Current cost reimbursement is what it would be versus a percentage of what the vehicle is worth and or the buildings. My suggestion, and it's purely a suggestion, to the board is I honestly feel that NYMER is the better way to go. Not to keep selling this capitalization return, we do get the $1,098.90 this year. We will get the same amount next year. And then that's gone, and then we have to replenish it, which we will replenish it over years.
So it's $22,732.75.
Yes, $22,732.75.
Right.
And then we can be looking for a $1,098.90 check that comes under separate cover. It's not deducted. They will not deduct it from this. That is our money, and they're sending it to us.
Put a lot of time into it.
I don't have a problem with any of the numbers. The only thing is in the resolution, there is a statement to prevent a lapse of insurance.
That is correct.
Actually, I spoke to the insurance agent today, and he said we still have insurance as of May 1st, and as long as we mail a payment, there is no lapse in coverage. So,
That is true.
so there, I mean, we shouldn't have that in the resolution to say that to prevent lapse. It's just-
Well, NYMER requested that I sign the papers, and it was, to prevent a lapse is what I was told it was to do, is to prevent a lapse. We have 90 days, I believe it is, I think it was 90 days, to get them the $22,732.75. We've got it in the budget for $25,000, I think it is, was allocated for insurance. So it's not coming out of anything but the insurance budget code. And there is a savings there too, 1,000 plus.
What's the budget code number? Can you give me that?
I don't have it.
It's right in front of you. It's on your operating statement. No, not
The
this,
operating statement?
it's
Not that, yeah.
the expenditures.
Oh.
You'll see the budget code right in
now I
there.
know. Thank you.
Mhm.
It's 1910-4, and it's $25,000 that was budgeted for this.
It would be helpful in the future, I mean, with these resolutions, I mean, I don't have a problem with anything that you're proposing here, but it would be helpful if I had this to understand, with an explanation of why we were changing, because it sounds like you've been in discussions here for some time. I had no idea we were changing insurance companies or that you were talking to anybody. And I see a resolution here that tells me we're changing with no explanation. It kind of,
Well, you got the explanation there.
now I do.
Yes, you do.
What I'm saying, what I'm asking is, if we had been kind of tipped off when we got our meeting packet, we got this resolution, had this been included, it would have made my life a lot easier.
Well, during our phone conversation yesterday, I did invite you to come in and sit down and go over it.
Okay.
And that way, if there were any questions, I could answer them at that point in time, and you'd be better informed. I apologize.
Is there a
that you
reason I
had to
have
come
to
in.
come in and physically get this? I mean, the whole world uses email.
I'm
and
not emailing,
I came
that's
in
my
and-
practice.
That's a poor practice. In
I'm
this day and
sorry.
age, that's a poor practice.
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
that's the way the whole world communicates. And sending a simple document like that, or including it in the meeting packet, would be pretty simple. And then I would have the information that I have, and I could come here informed and feel very comfortable supporting the resolution you're asking for. I have no problem supporting this resolution now that I have the
Thank
information.
you. I
So-
did not feel the need to give that to everybody because I didn't want discussion without responses, and I didn't want unanswered questions before you came. This way, it's simpler to sit down with the board, go over everything, and make sure that there's a clear and concise understanding of what I am presenting. There's no gray area.
I didn't get a meeting packet either.
You didn't get a what?
I did not get a meeting packet.
Yes, you did. I gave it to you tonight.
Yeah, you gave it to me tonight.
Yeah,
But-
because nobody came to pick it up. You didn't come to pick it up. And I've had this discussion with you. I've told you, because I know you don't do the stairs or choose not to do the stairs, I am more than happy to bring them downstairs to you.
When
when
will
we
I
get
know
here.
it'll be ready?
It's either the Friday, it'll definitely be ready the Monday before. The meeting is on Wednesday. I have technically until Monday to have it completed. So call me and I'll be happy to come downstairs with it for you.
I just want to go on record as saying that when it comes to meeting packets and the information that we need to judge these resolutions, that information should be on the website, which I understand it is now. It wasn't last week, but it is now. But this information could be emailed to all of us. We're in a time when we are not supposed to be coming face to face any more than we have to. Emailing this stuff eliminates that need to come into this office. And it's very simple to scan it, and you can email it to everybody, every board member, the clerk, anybody that needs to see it. And we don't need to come here and pick up a packet.
Thank you for your opinion. It's duly noted. Do we have any further discussion in regards to the resolution to adopt Hager and Flynn Insurance Brokers of Record? May I please have a roll call?
Supervisor Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilman Brown,
Yes.
Councilman Galusha,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris.
Yes.
Thank you, it's passed. And I will share with everybody when I receive the check. It's a big thing. Okay.
You gonna give us part of it?
I beg your, no, I wish I could, but I
I
can't
thought you
share.
shared the check, you
I'm
said.
not able to share
It's
that.
on the record, you said share the check.
I will show you all the check. I won't physically give you any of it. I need somebody to introduce a resolution to establish a bank for all town accounts. I'll introduce it.
I'll second.
Thank you.
You gonna do it?
I introduced it and Ed seconded it. Resolution to establish a bank for all town accounts. Whereas the town of Thurman needs to have a municipal bank account to pay all obligations and debts, be it resolved that the town board designates TD Bank to manage all of the town of Thurman's accounts, and be it resolved that the town board directs the supervisor to open all necessary accounts for the town of Thurman at TD Bank branch office in Warrensburg. Discussion.
Why did you pick a Canadian bank?
Because they were the only bank in the area that does municipal banking.
Oh, in Warrensburg or in the,
I
Glens
went,
Falls area?
well, I went to Queensbury, I went to Adirondack Trust, I went to Trustco Bank, and I went to TD Bank. TD Bank was the last one I went to. We need to have a bank that does municipal banking. The other two unfortunately didn't. And I didn't receive any of the information as requested by Adirondack Bank. As everybody knows, you can't go into a bank these days, and you haven't been able to go into a bank for a while. They do everything at the drive-up window or electronically. So
Why are we changing?
I beg your pardon?
Why are we changing?
Because Glens Falls National Bank wishes to part ways at this point in time.
And what reason have they given you for why we're doing that?
They have given me nothing in writing, but in discussion, they have discussed with me previous supervisors' issues in regards to the initial breach of the highway department of $400 and some odd. Glens Falls National Bank picked that up and required the town of Thurman to take on positive pay and to take on ACH, as well as the supervisor was told to change the bank accounts.
I called Mr. Shatner,
Okay?
once I heard a rumor, for him to find out why they had decided they wouldn't work with us. He made the comment that he could call for that reason, because if they don't want to work with us, we should have a reason for not working with us.
I'm giving you the reasons.
No, I talked to Mr. Shatner. He called the bank and he talked to the lady over there, and she wouldn't say, but you were talked to by like January, February, it was a big discussion with the bank.
No,
Well,
I can give you the timeline, and that's what I would like to very much do, because there's a lot of misinformation.
My information comes from our attorney.
That's
and
fine.
I spoke to the bank officials also myself.
And so
So
am
you've
I.
known since February.
No.
March, you were told that you had a fit date, they were not gonna work with us any longer, and only you know why. And it's not the previous year. We got Mr. Shackner asked them deliberately, it said it concerns January on, it's not last year's. That's what he told me. You
That's
can
fine.
argue with him.
That's fine.
So consequently, they also gave you the date of March 5th, it's when you should have been notified, and I can't say that they would
No.
tell you over the phone, because if you have a check missing or you're overdrawing your account, they certainly have they notify you immediately in paper and some other way. They don't call me on the phone and tell me about it, nothing's ever happened to me.
Well, we've had
But
no
anyways,
checks
you
on
have to June 1st or June 5th to get to a new bank. Now, it seems strange that the lawyer would say that you've known this information that long, and the fact that he's making a comment that the problems are in the year 2020.
Joan, can I continue with my timeline, please, and perhaps it'll help to straighten out this discussion.
Continue.
Because I will tell you, in January and in February, we had Whitney Berger and Amanda, I can't think of her last name, from the Glens Falls office come down and work with Gail and I to introduce positive pay and the ACH. And they worked with us very diligently. We had some technical problems, and then we had some problems where we weren't doing something right, and then we had a problem where there were numbers that were missing on the checks, on the bank statements. So they came in and they worked with us in January and February. I asked them, was it really necessary to have positive pay? At that point, they said, yes, it is, because we told the previous supervisor if she didn't have it, we would no longer do business with you. And I said, well, that's not going to happen, so we're doing positive pay and ACH, all right? Last year, the highway checking account was breached with $20,000 plus, all right? We were not made whole. We got $1,700 from the bank back. That's all we got. All right, that's every penny we got back from them. I know for a fact that last year on, May 31st, the band came due
2018.
of 2018. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong year, 2018, and the town defaulted on it. The board made a total of 3 resolutions that were passed by the same 3 board members. I know for a fact it was, let's see, Resolution 79, Resolution number, I think it was 80, 79, 86, and there was one more that I don't have numbered here. And the supervisor of last year refused to accept them because they weren't written by a lawyer and didn't pay for months on end. Finally, the bank had to hire a lawyer to come after the town to be reimbursed and made whole for the $300,000 that was outstanding and defaulted on. The town eventually did pay this off, and it was a huge expense to the bank, is what I was told. This year, when I came into office, there was a food pantry checkbook that was missing. I had sent out a note to the town clerk asking her if she was aware of this and where it was, and she knew nothing about it. February 2nd, 1 o'clock, she comes upstairs with a box of checks and said that Susan Baker just found these in her drawer.
That's not what happened, that's not the way it happened.
Please do not interrupt me.
You asked for the
Do not
checks.
interrupt me.
Sure, but I would
Thank
gladly like a chance to correct the record.
I have the paperwork to back up the fact that I have asked her for it. I also dated and timed the box when I was in receipt of it. The other thing that we discovered when we came into office, probably the end of January, beginning of February, we went through and counted our check stock for the T&A account. There was a total of 38 checks missing, not from the top, not from the bottom, but from the middle. Immediately I called the bank and I asked them to put a stop pay on them because I didn't know where they were, Susan didn't know where they were, nobody knew where they were, we couldn't find them anywhere. So I did my due diligence by stopping payment on those checks, 38 of them, plus whatever the checkbook was for the food pantry. I stopped payment on those. So quite honestly, if Glens Falls National Bank is basing their final decision on that, then I'm guilty. But I'm going to tell you straight up, I was told differently. I was also told that it was nothing that this board did wrong, and I was also told that it was nothing that the previous board had done wrong. Just so that you're aware, all right? It's very unfortunate. This is the last thing that I ever wanted to have happen. I went to them on numerous occasions and asked and tried to figure out a way that we could work this out. I've dealt with Glens Falls National Bank for years, and they said no, that the people above Arlene had decided at Arrow Banking that we would part ways. We were given, now mind you, Arlene came into my office March 5th, 10 o'clock appointment with Arlene, Whitney, and who's the gal in Warrenton? Amanda, thank you. The three of them came into my office and they told me point blank that we were going to end our relationship. It was as if somebody pulled a chair out from under me. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't see it coming. I was given until May 5th to find a new bank. April, I contacted them and said, I've made numerous phone calls, I've gotten some paperwork, not a lot of paperwork, I'm still waiting for stuff. Can I ask please for an extension? They granted me a 1-month extension till June 5th, okay? So that is why we're switching banks. We've got literally no choice in the matter.
No, you don't.
And the best thing for us is to go into a bank that deals with municipal accounting. I was also trying to look something, as far as I would go, is Queensberry. And it didn't work out because we have to drive to the bank and make deposits. Susan has to drive to the bank and make deposits. The tax collector has to drive to the bank. The town justice has to drive to the bank. So I was looking for something a little bit closer to home for banking. That's how come we came up with TD Bank. That and the fact that they do municipal accounting. The other banks did not. If I had a choice, and I told this to Randy on the phone the other day, if I had a choice, we would still be at Glens Falls National Bank, but I don't have a choice.
I wonder why they told the attorney.
I can't answer that,
No, I know you can't.
but I will be on the phone with Mark Shatner tomorrow to find out and let him know that this is the timeline that I was given and what I was given for reasons. They will not put anything in writing. They're worse than the comptroller's office, all right?
He didn't recommend TD Bank either. He thought that that was not a proper bank to go to and should find something different. But that's,
Well,
you do whatever you want to do, so.
no, it's not whatever I want to do. It is what I went out and got all the information on. And it is the only local bank that does municipal accounting. And we require municipal accounting for our funds. It's, you know, that was the choice.
So I don't dispute that we need to switch banks. They put us on notice, that's fine. I do have an issue with the fact that you've known about this for months and you have not shared this with the board at all.
No, I haven't.
No. The first that we find out about it with no explanation is when we pick up our meeting packets. That's inappropriate. I think that in the future, when you get information that is this significant, this important to our town and our fiscal well-being, that the board should be informed of it.
That's fine. I understand your concern.
That's number one. Number two, we should also be involved and have knowledge of the changes that are going to be made. So if we're looking at other banks, We should be looking at proposals, we should be looking at what they're gonna do for us. I spoke to Gary Gifford, and he listed off a number of things that we should be talking to these banks about. And some of the things that he said to me, if I can find it here, are there, what their fees are, what kind of online protections and internal controls they have to prevent what we're dealing with now.
Yeah.
There were a number of things that he and I talked about that if we had had time and had information, we could weigh all these things and evaluate them with you, not against you, but with you, so that we can make a collective decision.
What I
So,
wanna, go ahead.
Let me finish. I also find it hard to believe in this day and age that when you overdraw your account, the bank automatically sends you a notice, that they're not giving us anything in writing that notifies us that they're terminating service with us. I don't believe that.
Well, they don't.
So,
They didn't give us anything in writing. The only thing that they sent me was a text message, an email stating that the extension was granted to June 6th, and that they are terminating their relationship with us. That's all that was given to me.
I also find it hard to believe that they're citing things that happened 2 years ago.
A year ago.
No, you went back to 2018. You just detailed a whole
Well, it
litany.
started.
Hold on, you just detailed a whole litany of things that were wrong as to why the bank was terminating us. None of that you're saying is in writing. I'm wondering, are those reasons the bank gave? Why did the bank not terminate us last year when the fraud happened? And I'm questioning what...
They tried to.
Okay. What has happened this year that finally put them over the edge on this? Because as I recall, I had a conversation with Gail earlier this year. There were some other attempted frauds this year.
No, they weren't.
It was.
That
You and I had...
That was a made-up check. It
There
was
were
not a
3
check.
made-up
That's an
checks.
attempted fraud.
No,
Yeah, well, it wasn't on the Glens Falls account.
it
There
wasn't.
were 3 checks that came in. One was from Arizona, one was from Nevada, and one that we never received the one from Louisiana, did we?
No, no.
But they were
So-
all turned
They-
over to the state police.
They never went to the bank. They never went to the
Where
bank.
did they go?
They
They
came
mailed
to
them.
us. They mailed them to us.
Who's they?
Who's they?
This car dealer
What?
in Nevada,
Yep.
who was the one in
Okay,
Arizona?
so
There was one in
somebody
Bolton.
tried to use our bank account, they wrote a check to buy a car.
No.
No. They were-
Explain to me
they
what
were-
happened then.
The checks were not even Glens Falls National Bank checks. They looked nothing like any of the checks that they have ever issued.
Why were they mailed to us?
Because they called us and asked us why we were sending them a check. One was for a car to be purchased, and wanted to know
Okay.
why we were purchasing a car, and we weren't. And they said, well, this isn't right, so they sent us the check, their business card, and they express mailed it to us.
They did, and they gave us the envelope that they received it in, the
Yep.
FedEx envelope.
Yes,
So how did they know to send it to us? Did they have our
because there
bank
was a Town
account?
of Thurman name on it, Town of Thurman, New York.
An address.
An address, that's the only thing they had to go by.
And they
They
looked
didn't
up
have
our
any
phone
account
number.
numbers?
The account numbers didn't match.
No,
ours.
they didn't match the accounts.
Okay.
But
Still,
that stopped
it's-
in January.
Okay, so still that's an attempted fraud, and we should have been informed of that, okay? I'm just wondering why, if they're citing all this historical stuff that happened, why the accounts weren't terminated then? Why did they wait until now to terminate them?
I asked that question, and they said the straw that broke the camel's back was because of the 38 checks that we found missing, and because of the food pantry checkbook that was missing. I had to stop payment on them. I closed the account on the food pantry, and I opened up a savings account, which wasn't touched by the $20 that everything is being touched by for the positive pay, because that was eating that account up, and it was also eating the youth commission account up. So that's what I did with those 2 accounts. The 38 checks, all we could do was stop paying on them. We gave them the number in sequence, and they stopped paying on them. There was nothing else they could do with them.
Right.
And I think that's what they indicated would push them over.
Yeah, if you want to know what checks they were, I was trying to reconcile all the checks, so when you reconcile the checks, you make sure you have every single check number. 38 were missing from the trust and agency account. They were not accidentally voided, they were not put in a spot with any of the voided checks, because I had those. I found those. Deb did a great job, I found all her voided checks. They were literally missing.
Okay.
So when you have missing checks from a trust and agency account, I immediately told Sue, and she immediately called and canceled payment on them so that they would not be
No problem.
done.
That's
But
fine.
apparently that was, and the straw that broke the camel's back, all right?
When we cancel those checks.
Yeah, and when I canceled, when we couldn't find the food pantry checks,
Checkbook.
and I had to cancel that account, and I put a stop pay, I knew nothing about it, all I knew is that there was checks, I didn't know how many there were, what their numbers were, and they had no records. They had to go back and dig for the records to find out what the check numbers were, and then we put a stop pay on the checks, because we didn't know if one was taken from this, one was taken from here, one was taken from there. And then we closed the account out and we put it into a savings account where it's safe and secure.
So,
That checkbook was supposed to have been with all the other checkbooks, and it was missing.
okay,
It showed up the exact day that she closed the checking account. She came back, and that afternoon, the checkbook miraculously appeared.
so,
It was just
So-
it was a miscommunication. She asked for all the food pantry stuff. I told Sue Baker to go ahead and give her all the food pantry stuff. I didn't realize the checkbook wasn't given to her until I saw it in the drawer, and as soon as I saw it, I gave it to her. No one was hiding anything, no one was holding anything back. It was a miscommunication. If she had
Thank
come
you.
to our office and specifically said, I didn't get the checkbook, could you look for it?
You
We
can
would have
ask.
found it earlier. That did not
So-
happen.
But that's
so
in
so
here.
here's the thing. You got missing checks, you close an account, you open another account. Now I'm just finding out about it now. Why wasn't any of that shared with the board when it happened?
That's fine.
I mean, we've
And
been
I
going through
apologize
fraud
if you
here for the
feel like
last
there's one too
year
many.
and a half,
But Randy,
and we're not being told any of this.
Randy, what happened? It's only been 5 months that we've been in office.
I don't care if it's 2
Only-
months. If you're
Listen.
closing an account and opening another account, and you've got
Randy.
checks missing that you gotta put stop payment on, when we've been subject to fraud, I think the
Randy.
board has a right to know about that.
That's fine. What I am
Great,
telling
too bad
you
we
is
weren't
I am
told
the
last
chief
year.
financial officer of this town. I am the supervisor of this town, and I have the responsibilities of day-to-day activities and works that have to be done in this town. I didn't bring it to your attention, and I was wrong.
Thank you.
I should have brought you, but I didn't. But just like I didn't bring a lot of, I didn't share the insurance stuff with you today. I didn't want a telephone line burning up with people calling people and finding out people are receiving incorrect information.
If you put that information out there and it's your information, how is it incorrect?
I can't answer that.
Really?
I can't answer that.
I've seen your,
You know,
Yeah,
I
okay,
can
I
tell you.
guess that's enough.
I can tell you that I did receive a call from the judge today. She was very upset. She received a phone call from you, and it turns out that she is all for going to TD Bank and maintaining her account, which is what she has
The
had
reason I
all
called her
along.
is because she's a department head, she has an account, and she never was told that we're closing accounts and changing
And you
banks.
know what?
All I did was call her and ask her, did she know about this? Because she's responsible for her account, not you.
I understand that.
That's 3 accounts.
I
There's
understand.
actually 3 accounts.
To the justice
And the tax collector.
So not only did you not inform the board, you didn't inform the department heads that are responsible for those accounts.
That's correct.
Well, I honestly had hoped that the bank was going to notify the people who receive the town clerk. the
Why would they
town,
notify those three and
tax
not
collector,
you?
And the justice. I beg your pardon?
Why would they notify those 3 and not you?
You just said they didn't give you
They,
anything in
on
writing.
March, no, they didn't.
Would
but
you
they
expect
came
it to
to
do
see
it for
them.
them?
I had hoped that they would notify the other departments.
Doesn't fit.
That's fine,
Something's
it doesn't
wrong.
fit. There's nothing funny here, John.
I didn't say funny, I said fine.
Everything is very much above board, and I'm not telling you anything but the truth. All right? I have
I
no
don't
reason to
know
lie
this is
to
all
you.
right, because I can't believe the bank would not have said something in writing or whatever, and the fact that you didn't tell your town board, which is above you, everybody controls you with the town board. And you didn't tell
Not what you
anybody.
said last
And
year.
the
I
last
apologize
reason
for
you
that,
didn't
Jim,
tell
already.
anybody.
How much do you want me to apologize?
I don't want you to apologize. We're in the 6th month and we're already finding out things time after time after time.
Well,
That we're
March,
in
it
trouble
came-
and we don't find out about them until
It's May.
somebody tries
It's
to
May,
fix it.
it's
It's the
May.
5th month.
It's the 5th month, not the 6th
All
month.
right, 5th
And
month.
they didn't come to me until March, and I had to,
You talked to them in February.
I did not talk to, March.
Oh, yeah,
fourth,
yeah,
I called
According
my
to,
office.
I spoke to 3 representatives.
That's fine.
They all said that there was a meeting in late January, early February. That's what they told me.
That was
That was to go
positive
over
pay.
Positive pay. We
That's
were
what they
being
told me.
instructed on, well,
Yeah, they can
I
tell you
also
anything.
told Arlene that she was wrong with her dates, and I have it in writing upstairs, my writing.
Okay.
All right? And I'm telling you straight up, January and February, they were here with positive pay and ACH. That's all they were here for. March 5th, the very first time I ever met Arlene,
Okay, fine.
she brought Whitney with her, who I had the opportunity to meet, and of course, Amanda from the local office. That was the first they told me.
Okay. I have another question with our bank accounts. You indicated that we've been reimbursed $1,700. I assume that's from Glens Falls National?
That was last year. Yeah.
Are we doing anything to recoup any of these other losses? Because it's my understanding some of the banks that actually received and processed and cashed the checks should be responsible or liable. So are we doing anything
They
to recoup
did.
any of those losses?
They did stop, Glens Falls National Bank did stop, were able to stop a few of the checks before they went through. All right?
My question is, of the money that we're actually out,
Mm-hmm.
are we doing anything to recoup that money from the banks? Because they should be responsible for cashing a fraudulent check.
No.
Why
I
is
don't
Glens
believe
Falls
so.
responsible when the other banks are?
The account sits with us.
The bank account, the checks were fraudulent, but they had already been processed. What they managed to do was to stop payment on the ones that hadn't gone through. When you stop payment on a check, you refuse it. So that's why they were able to give us back $1,700. The rest of it is going through an insurance company that last year the board had said the supervisor was bonded. They have to go through and then they're going to try to recoup the money for us. But that's an insurance company, it's going to take time. And
My
they
question
didn't give
is,
us it.
Are we doing anything to follow up on that, or are we just throwing our hands up and it's money lost?
No, I have contacted the bank and asked them and not been given anything satisfactory. They've already gotten their money, or we've gotten our money from them. I've talked to the insurance company. There is a claim out there for $500 that Cynthia brought that's being processed. I can't do anything about that. And we have just given all the information to the state police to make sure that it's not a closed. And as far as recouping any more money, unless we go after individuals personally, I don't know how we can recoup any more money. Glens Falls said that they were done.
Why would
Have
you
you
not
discussed-
notify our attorney? That's
Have you
that's
discussed it
his
with your
job to do all this.
He was aware of what went on in the losses that occurred, and he knew that I was aware of them.
He talked to the
If-
bank and they gave him different information you're giving him.
Well, I will, as I said to you, we'll speak to Mark tomorrow and find out what information they did. Every time we call Mark, it's money, all right? I am trying very hard to not spend as much money.
Yeah, but legal, that's what you hired him
Legal is
for.
legal.
But if you're spending money to save yourself money in the long run and protect us, I mean, it's money well spent.
I don't know how, I haven't, well, fine, thank you. But at this point in time, I'd like to close the discussion, and I'd like to have a roll call vote.
I'd just like to make one point. You have to make an amendment to this resolution. You cannot be the person that opens my account.
I'm not opening your accounts.
Well,
You
that's
gotta
what the
change the word
No,
resolution
no,
says.
absolutely not.
That's That's what the resolution says, so you have to amend it.
To open all
No, you don't.
necessary.
So I am opening the town of Thurman accounts. That is a general fund, highway fund, trust and agency, food pantry, and youth commission. You're responsible for opening yours.
Well, we're gonna need a
Justice is
resolution
responsible
for
for
that.
hers.
We
Right.
need to have a resolution to take to the bank in order to
That's
open
fine.
it.
We will
Hold
open.
on, hold on. Her point is that what you're stating here is the town supervisor to open all necessary accounts. And you can't open those three
Um,
I'm
accounts.
not trying to open
But
them.
it says it all.
Doesn't say.
Wait a
so.
minute.
Wait a minute.
Can I at least give you something, a thought here?
Not really.
The chief financial officer is responsible for opening the accounts because elected officials change. The only signer on the account
No,
is the particular elected official in the office.
no.
But the board has to approve the supervisor opening any of the accounts. She isn't gonna sign on this. She isn't gonna sign on the justice. She can't. The only signer on the account is this person.
Then it'll be
But
no
this
problem
person,
then
but
changing
nobody
that
but the
from all
chief
to-
financial officer can
All
open accounts for the
necessary. So
town.
what do I have to do, sit there and list the accounts that I'm opening?
Yes, I got general
Oh,
highway.
please, don't do that.
Sorry. Throw that, I didn't mean to throw things at you.
There you go.
So there's one other issue here. You and I had a discussion, and I asked you if there were being changes to the accounts or consolidations.
You did.
And you indicated that you intended to consolidate the
No, I did
general.
not. I said there was a possibility that we may be consolidating the general and the highway, that I had been given information that during actually Evelyn's tenure, when we had a audit done, that it was recommended that they consolidate
No.
the accounts. She had consolidated the highway and the general fund, hence the name consolidated. When Cynthia came into office, Cynthia chose that she didn't want to do that. She split them. She has.
That's what the audit
Excuse
suggests.
me.
Let her finish.
What she has is, it's called consolidated, which is our general fund, and we have the highway fund. They're not together anymore. I spent 2 days on the telephone